All right, good evening and welcome everyone to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we have the 2022 season opener here at Area 51, Dark Horse Area 51 IndyCar Series. 100 laps at Homestead is the race distance tonight. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps right now to get things going, but as you can see, nice temperature, 65 degrees. Track temperature not too bad either there. So 94 degrees for the track temp, so it's going to be pretty nice weather. It looks like, 107 degrees track temperature. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the course of the race as well. But watching practice looks like it's going to be pretty racy, but what we need to do is look into our season schedule for this season. Alright, going to pull it up here. So obviously tonight, Auto Club Speedway, again, 100 laps the race distance. Then we're going to switch over, stay on the West Coast, though, over to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then we've got New Hampshire Worldwide Technology Raceway, aka Gateway. You got Kansas, Pocono, Iowa, Kentucky, Richmond, Michigan, Chicagoland, and of course the finale at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I'll say it's going to take us to the end of March. So 12 races as the kind of the typical season here, and then we'll kick things off again probably around April to get that second season going for the Area 51 series. So as always, really appreciate everybody here to join us. Unfortunately, don't have my partner in crime, Steve Gottschalk, had to take care of some stuff on the home front today. So that being said, I was able to grab a nice little partner in crime to join me tonight, and that is going to be Jason Adams. I'll say it's going to be a little trial by fire for you, Jason, because I'll say not too familiar with these Indy cars. I say as we were talking, you're literally downloading the cars just before we got going here. But that being said, though, obviously familiar with oval racing with you running the next gen series on Monday evenings over with Area 51. So I really appreciate you hopping on here. Appreciate the offer, and it's gonna be fun to see what these guys have in store for us tonight.
Yes, sir. It sure is. I'm very familiar with the oval racing. It's going to be very exciting to sit here and watch these guys with these cars. I've never seen them before, never raced them before, so I'm really interested in seeing what these guys can do.
Yeah, say is, and say one of the things. I mean, the next gen cars. I mean, you obviously, like I said, you know a good bit about those guys, but Aero Push is definitely a little bit. You'll see those with those cars, but these cars, I mean, Aero Push is very, very crucial with these ones. So you're going to see they're going to be using all 4 or 5 lanes here at Auto Club Speedway, trying to find anywhere to put that clean air on the front nose of these cars. So on the front wings, I should say, of these cars. So again, the normal rules here with Area 51, though, they have one fast repair. However, the Indy Series, they mimic the regular season, or I should say the actual IndyCars season. There will be no green-white checkered attempts here, so basically lap 100 will be the final lap of the race. So hopefully not under yellow, but we've seen it happen before. However, these guys, like I said, have been putting on some really good racing. It looks like should have about 20 drivers strong, a few new names, a few new faces. Also, a few returning faces as well, which is always a lot of fun to see as well. And something we mentioned on Sunday, also a lot of great partners that have come on board here with Area 51. Some of course, some returning sponsors as well. So I say those new ones, TJ Chummy Esports, again, driver coaching, paint schemes, a lot of great stuff from those guys. And of course, on the other side of things, we've still got ESTV on board here, able to do the multicasting, able to broadcast those if you want to watch it on your Roku devices and others as well. It's really cool with them. And of course, Dark Horse Racing League, they'll be racing tomorrow night with the DW12s. So if you're interested in doing some open wheel racing Tuesday, Thursday nights, and I think $50 entry fee for both series can get you into some racing and some prizes and everything to go with that fee. So definitely check that out as well. And also got to mention as well, we got some other painters involved now as well. And I got to pull up the info here because it's been a little while since I've been grabbing all the info for everybody. I apologize. There it is. Levy Designs. Also, if you're looking for paint schemes, Les Levy has a Facebook page. You can search for Levy Designs. And then also LMC Gear, lightweight motorcycle camping gear. Also a supporter of the league and also of the some drivers on board here as well. Craig Forsyth being one of those. However, after all of that's all squared away, qualifying has just completed here, and we've got, I wouldn't say an upset on the front row, but maybe not what we've seen more over the course of the season. That's going to be that 51 of Jim Brooks on pole position here, able to hold off Craig Forsyth by 0.06 of a second. Matt Wagner going to start in third. Then you got Jeff Heisung, Jim Herrick, Eric Peterson, Nick DeGroot, Charles Teed, Eric Schaus, and Alec Coates rounding out our top 10. 11th and 12th, you got Yari Brupacher, Andrew Wood. Then you got Gary Corley, William George, Chummy Miller, Jack Walls, Joseph Morales, Scott Rankin, Anders Arhus, Thaddeus McMurray, and then Dustin Lamb and TJ Allen starting in 21st and 22nd. So it looks like 22 cars taking the grid. And yes, Rachel, glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. Actually, I'm sorry, Dr. Schaus, welcome back. Good to have you here as well. So definitely always enjoyed having you part of the broadcast as well. So so say you're gonna get some trial by fire here though, Jason. I said these guys gonna get gridded up here and get going in just a bit, 100 laps. I've been hearing fuel window, and that's again. So these Indy cars, the next gen cars or stock cars in general, pretty much you can adjust the brake bias in the car. That's all you can really do. These things, you can do a lot of tweaking to them. Of course, the brake bias. However, you can also adjust the fuel map in these cars. So obviously, fuel map 1, full rich, going to be burning the most fuel. However, you can go down to map 5 under green flag conditions. If you can hold the draft, will allow you to save extra fuel. If you can, like I said, maybe have to burn, maybe be on the throttle a little bit more, but runs that little bit leaner. And then, of course, they also have a map 8 under caution conditions as well. So it's going to be fun to see what they use there. And then they also have a few other tools, one called the weight jacker, which kind of just moves weight forward and backwards in the car. If you're getting a little bit tight, you can push that forward, loosen the car up. And then same thing goes as well, obviously, if you're on the loose side. But then there's also front and rear adjustable roll bars. So, I mean, these guys, there's plenty of buttons and knobs these guys can play with to really dial in the cars. Even for being a fixed setup, they got a lot of tools they can play with. All right, I think I've got all that out of the way. So I'll say, like I said, hopefully don't overwhelm me too much on all this stuff, Jason. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, though. It looks like we have 21 drivers that have got on the grid. It looks like the 5 of Dustin Lamb may be either starting from the pits or may have maybe some difficulties getting the either the track or whatever up and running. So we'll keep an eye for Dustin. But however, like I said, it's going to be 21 drivers here, 22 if we can get that 5 car in. And then we're going to have 100 laps here. If it goes green, looking at likely a 3 pit stop race. We'll see if anybody can pull some strategy and maybe try to stretch it to a 2-stopper. However, I think realistically, probably 3-stop is going to be what we're going to see from these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, Gal, it looks like it's going to be a very exciting race for sure.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. You're not going to see these guys 2x2 very long. You're going to see these guys really start to spread out, try to find some clean air on the front wings of these cars. And so, as I said, Jim Brooks and Craig Forsyth going to lead off that front row. Just waiting for that green flag to fly. And then from there we'll be underway. Green flag is down and away. And I say these guys, again, just got to make sure they get a clean start here. And say, just again, new season, everybody's going to get refamiliarized with everything. But so far, so good. Looks like they're going to have a nice, clean run here into turn number 1. So far, it looks like low line going to prevail. You see Matt Wagner, he went from 3rd to 2nd. Now kind of peeking, thought about trying to make it 3 wide there. He's going to duck back in line. But again, you see moves up just a little bit, try to get that clean air. But it's Charles Teed who's making huge moves here. He's already up 6 spots. Oh, we got a couple cars hitting to touch the wall there towards the back there. But looks like Jim Brooks will lead lap number 1. But we did see a few cars have just a little bit of contact with the outside wall. But so far, we'll see if there's any suspension damage, but so far looks like everybody's going to hang on here okay.
Yeah, it looks like we lost Dustin. He looks like he disconnected, brother.
It's unfortunate, yeah. So it's going to be the 5 of Dustin Lamb not on track here. So he's going to have to hope his cohorts like William George, Chummy Miller, maybe they can kind of run the show here for that TJ Chummy Esports group here. But right now, though, it's like I said, it's been Charles Teed who's made big moves already, like I said, battling for the lead. Started in 8th position, somehow already up into that top 2 right off the bat. So Charles wasting no time to try to put his stamp on this race. So this is where strategy is going to start to set in right off the bat, though, Jason. Like I said, a lot of adjustments you can make. You can go ahead and look at doing maybe, like I said, fuel map adjustment. Oh, as I said, big contact on the outside wall. Nick DeGroot in the wall there. I see other cars involved here. So you see a few trying to sneak on through. Eric Schaus involved. Trying to see who else was in this one. I'm trying to see who was that. Jeff Heisung also caught up. So some big names actually right off the bat here. Unfortunately, I said Nick DeGroot really won I believe our champion from last season. Or no, I'm sorry, I believe second place in the championship. He's caught up in a Jeff Heisung, one of our perennial front runners. Eric Schaus, always quick as well. Two of them having to take toes as well, so that's going to put them in a tough spot and lose that faster pair as well. Let's go back and try to find what exactly happened here. So we're gonna watch from, I think it kicked off right around Nick DeGroot here. So we're gonna take a look as they come through 3 and 4. Oh yeah, the 18 here, Jeff Heisung, just gets arrow washed behind, I believe, Craig Forsyth, and then just goes right up into Nick DeGroot. Nick really nothing he can do, and then unfortunately Eric Schaus just nowhere to go. Kind of just lifts up a little bit off the nose of that of the 18 car as well. So that's where all those cars got that damage from, and you see the rest of the field trying to find somewhere to make some space to try to make sure they don't get caught up in this one as well. You see great heads up by, looks like the rest of the field actually, everybody able to sneak on by. So great heads up driving by these guys. So that's going to bring our first yellow out right around lap number 5. And we'll jump back live because we do have a few takers on pit road. Not too many, but it looks like Craig Forsyth going to lead the field onto the pits. So it looks like about a pretty much half field split here. Craig Forsyth being the first to take advantage of that caution and go ahead and pit here at lap number 5. It's going to be Charles Teed still leading, who's going to stay out all the way down to the number 10 of Anders R, who's in that 10th position. All of these drivers opting to stay out. So again, this could open up some fuel strategy for someone like a Craig Forsyth. Like I mentioned, maybe a potential of trying to stretch that fuel number, see if maybe you can get a 2-stopper from this point in the race. So say this is kind of one of those things that opens up some opportunities. Should be a quick yellow here with this track being over 2 miles long. Usually it's pretty much the one and then you get the one to go. So the next question, of course, will be, does anybody go ahead and top off potentially, maybe get that little extra splash of fuel? So we'll keep an eye on that. And right now, still watching. Looks like, okay, yeah, Eric Schaus is back out on track. I believe he's going to fall. He'll be sitting 1 lap down, if I'm not mistaken, having to take that toe. Same thing goes for Nick DeGroot. So those two will be fighting for the lucky dog position. However, Jeff Heisung was able to limp his car to the pits, which will allow him to stay on the lead lap. So that's going to be definitely a big break for that 18 car.
Yeah, going back and looking in car from Eric Peterson, man, he's a wheel man. That was so close for him and almost ruined his night.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. These guys have to be really quick on the reaction times with these things sometimes. And mention that drivers topping off. Jack Walls is one of those in the 83. And I say Jack is kind of known for being Mr. Fuel Strategy. So I think Jack's going to try to see if he can pull a rabbit out of his hat, maybe try to do some strategy. Because like I said, these guys do have a tendency of running these races pretty green. So say it's definitely, I think, worth the gamble. Saying Jack, I think, also, like I said, one of the best at saving fuel. So going to be fun to see what he's got in store for us. However, like I said, lights are off of the pace car. And again, IndyCar rules here. Single file restarts here, and it's going to be under the control of Charles Teed. So basically, once he's ready, he can drop the hammer, and then it's up to the field to try to react and get going on time there. And of course, then also to be careful is when you get those single file restarts, the accordion effect is always a risky proposition. So these guys got to make sure that they kind of time their restarts and not get into the back of one another. So you might see a few drivers jump out from line to line to just kind of get a little more visibility, make sure that they can kind of see where those other guys around them are.
Yeah, it's going to be fun seeing these guys that was involved in this wreck. Took the fast pair, try to get back through the field. Got some fast guys back there, it looks like.
Yeah, so definitely some really quick drivers that are caught. As you see, there goes Charles Teed down and away. And it gets a nice little breakaway, goes straight to break that draft, try to kind of shortcut that front stretch there. And it looks like overall, though, a good start here. So I think everybody's going to get away okay, nice and clean. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to say because it's going to be a fight between Schaus and DeGroot to try to be in that lucky dog position with that potential of a caution. So I think that's going to be as big of a battle as we might see up here for the lead of this race. As I say that, there goes Jim Brooks. He's going to jump down to the inside, try to see if he'll lead that lap at the line. It was, I don't know, hundreds if not thousands of a second between the two of them at the line there. But right now, say Jim Brooks, Charles Heath, they've been kind of just bouncing between each other, kind of cycling the lead back and forth. However, Matt Wagner, he's definitely wants to get into the mix here as well in that 6 car. So we'll see what he's got in store for these guys as well. But right now, these guys look like they're pretty content here to just kind of play that, what I call leapfrog. Where basically you kind of get in the drafts, pick up the toe, and then you basically jump back around that guy. Because so unfortunately, unlike the stock cars, these guys don't really tandem draft very well. So this is pretty much the way to make the speed with these cars. You can't really lock onto one another. So what you do is you get that big draft, fly right on by them, and kind of just they get the run off of turn 2 or turn 4 and return the favor. And that's kind of the way to keep the speed up on the front of this group. Whereas Matt Wagner probably can actually save a little bit of fuel where he's running right now, just kind of cruising behind these two. Like you mentioned, some great hands by Eric Peterson in that purple 36 car. He is up into that 4th position. And we do have a handful of pretty big movers here. Obviously, like I mentioned, Charles Teed, he's up 7 spots into the lead. But a few drivers we'll definitely be watching are going to be Andrew Wood. He is definitely one to watch week in and week out. He is also 7 spots up into that 5th position. Same thing, Gary Corley in the 7 from up into that 6 spot, 7 spots gain for him, as he's working on trying to make that 8 as he works around Andrew Wood here. But looks like he's, as I said, a little bit of contact. He washed up a little bit, catches the 64 car. The 64 gets a piece from behind there. And that looks like that broke the right rear suspension of that car. That tire, you can see it just flopping around. And unfortunately, Andrews, you can see just that car not going to move, but he's off the track, so there's nothing he can do. I think it was William George that may have just got a piece of him. Now the question is how his front end plate is on that wing. It looks okay, but unfortunately, just bad luck for Andrew Wood there. Just kind of, unfortunately, just got kind of that arrow push up into from Gary Corley, and then again gets shot from behind as well while we were watching that, and just now has to take a tow, and now is going to be sitting multiple laps down as these guys continue on at about 200 and probably 220, 230 miles an hour.
Yeah, I've been sitting here watching these top 3 cars up front, and we've had some pretty good lead changes back and forth. Looks like we've had about 4 lead changes in the past lap and a half, and it looks like they're going for another lead change now as we speak.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I think we're going to probably pretty much be seeing 2 lead changes every lap between the two of these guys, but now you see Matt Wagner, he's really closed the gap. I think now, like I said, it looked like he was just kind of cruise control, but now it looks like he's really starting to pick up the pressure on these guys. I think he might try to join the mix here if he gets the opportunity to. Like I said, finding that clean air is going to be paramount. You see he cuts it straight down to the inside, try to find that clean air on the front wing, and now he picks up that double draft, if you will, off that 5 and the 50, I should say, and the 51. I think that might be the first time we haven't seen the lead swap on a straightaway there, though, on that backstretch there where Jim did not get around Charles Teed. So we'll see if he goes around this time or not. But looks like now Jim looks like, I think he's content now. Maybe they're going to try to save a little bit of fuel. And look at Matt here. He's going to get a 2 for 1 there. Just swings by both of those guys. And that just shows how powerful that draft can be. And so, like I said, these guys are going to play nice right now. But you know when it gets down to that closing laps, these guys are going to definitely be playing a little bit more aggressive. But as I say that, we got a caution out. It looks like it's for Eric Schaus. Oh, yeah, he's stuck up in the wall here. And he's unfortunately had to take a tow, and that might be an early retirement for that 72 because I believe that was his second incident and probably out of fast repair. So we'll go back and take a look to see what exactly happened to Eric here. So he's on his own, so wondering maybe just misjudged turn 1 or maybe a hardware failure. So that car just kind of stays up against the wall, and I think maybe either try to enter a little too high and just caught the outside wall, or just maybe the wheel maybe had a little bit of difficulties. But unfortunately for that Hot Wheels car, that might be his evening retired early tonight as he gets stuck up against that outside wall, just pretty much pinned up to it. So that's going to bring out the yellow, and that's going to be a huge break for Nick DeGroot, as that should put him now in that lucky dog spot. All right, so it's about 10 laps from the last yellow. So it was around lap 4, lap 5 for that first caution, second caution here on lap number 15. I think we're going to see a lot of takers this time. I don't suspect we'll see too many stay out. I think at this point it's too many laps because it's going to be just maybe about 10-15 before they jump in. And yeah, so you saw Matt kind of debating, and he's going to make a late jump in there. And it looks like bringing pretty much the entire field. However, Jari Brupacher, he's decided he wants some track position. He had pitted under that first yellow. He's going to stay out, take over the lead of this race. But the only driver to stay out and do so, as Nick DeGroot, like we mentioned, does get that wave around. So that'll put Nick now back onto the lead lap, although in the 18th position.
Hey, go. Just let's take a moment real quick. I've never raced these cars before, just in case we got any new viewers tonight that might be interested in joining Area 51 or interested in driving these cars at all. How does these cars handle? What kind of limits can you go with the tires on these cars? What's the fuel mileage on these cars? How many laps can you get? Can you answer some of them questions for us?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's definitely tires. I'd say the tires are not as critical as fuel in these cars. I say it's really more about track position. I feel like I said, I think if you can be in those top two positions, like you saw Jim Brooks and Charles T, where they can kind of just keep jumping back and forth with one another. And again, these also do run reduced fuel loads. I think they're running about 60% fuel capacity, so they definitely can't run the full distance of what a full tank would do. But with these cars, like I mentioned, a lot of adjustments, and of course the drafting, you can really have a big range of fuel numbers in these cars. So the numbers I was hearing, if let's say somebody was leading the whole time, just full throttle, pedal to the metal on map 1, probably about 27 or so laps under green flag conditions. However, for those drivers that are trying to save fuel, like I said, maybe going into that map 5 running as lean as possible, you might see those guys get into like a 30-32 lap window. Like I said, maybe even gaining like 5 or so laps off those ones, being very aggressive and just leading the race. So that's what's really neat about these cars, is there's a lot of wiggle room, a lot of strategy that can be played with. Do you want to be up front controlling these things, or do you want to maybe be further towards the back and just go ahead and try to save some fuel and try to kind of jump some guys in the pit stop? So, and then yeah, on the tire wear, it's obviously track dependent. Auto Club definitely is a little bit more abrasive, but you will see from time to time drivers gamble and try to save some time on a pit stop, because 4 tires and fuel with these cars is usually around 8 to 9 seconds. So if you just maybe need to get a couple gallons of fuel, I could turn that into maybe about a 3-4 second pit stop. So you say might save you about 5 seconds over those cars around you that maybe take tires. So it's definitely a lot of strategies involved with these guys. And then of course the other one is the draft window. Like I said, these cars have very, very big draft windows. About 1.5 seconds to 1.8 seconds, somewhere in that. If you're in that range, you're going to be catching that draft of the car in front of you. So that's another reason why these guys, if they can get far enough out to maybe break away from the draft, that's where you'll see some of those strategy calls come into play. So I said we're going to be at 17, coming to 18, so we still got about 83 laps to go here. As I'm trying to run the quick math in my head, but I feel like it's probably still, it's going to be tight, I think, for a 2-stopper here still. But I think there are going to be drivers that will try to pull it off if they have the opportunity.
We go. Looks like we're going green.
Yeah, we are. Say it looks like Yari's opted to wait a little longer here, and now he's down and waiting. You can see this time the field definitely more bunched up than before. And I think that's just everybody was ready for that green flag there, and so you see Jari Brupacher right off the bat here. That being said, actually, he's got a couple lap cars in between him and the leader. And you see right there, Andrew Wood, actually, he's going to jump now around and take the point here at the moment. So what this does for Andrew is this basically takes one of those laps he's down away, which was waiting for the timing and scoring to update to see exactly how many laps down he is. And it looks like he's sitting at 2 laps down at the moment. So I believe if he can get around this car and get that timely caution, that could actually put him just at 1 down. And if that caution came out when he's ahead of that leader, he can actually wind up getting both of his laps in one shot. So it's definitely going to be in Andrew's best interest here to try to hang on to this track position, hang on to that lead in front of these guys behind him. So he'll definitely be one rooting for that yellow here. Oh, as I said, I see one down on the apron. Couldn't tell who that was. It was definitely a green car. Not sure if that was something. Go back. I think it may have been. That wasn't Scott Rankin. Oh, I think it was maybe Dustin Lamb. Yeah, I think it was Dustin Lamb. Caught the apron a little bit. Great job hanging on to that thing. And I say to live another day, because these cars, I mean, you touch the apron and usually you're straight around. You're not going to save that car. So great hands from that 5 car to be able to hang on to that one. And say glad to see him back in the race as well. Say obviously missed the start unfortunately, but is back in the mix here. It's going to be numerous laps down right now. Looks like 10 down. However, unfortunately with the early exit from Eric Schaus, I'll at least open up an opportunity for him to gain some spots from that one, and then maybe even some future incidents might bring him back into that mix as well. But right now, though, that battle for the lead is Yari Brupacher, Matt Wagner. Like I said, though, we've got that 64 Andrew Wood here trying to hang on to that lead, and you can see he's being a little, not being very defensive, but a little more defensive, kind of just hugging that middle groove, not going straight to the wall, just to kind of let those guys know, like, hey, I really want to keep this spot. And honestly, it's probably in Yari's best interest here. Might as well just stay behind that 64, save some fuel as well in that 49, because again, you're the only driver that didn't stay out here, so you've got about 10 laps less fuel than these guys around you. So I think for Yari here, it's actually in his best interest maybe just try to stay tucked up on that 64. So things are a little single file out here, so let's actually run through the field. So right now our Yari Brupacher, our leader, plus 10 from his starting spot in the lead. Right behind him, Matt Wagner in that number 6 machine. Started in 3rd, currently running in 2nd. And actually Nick DeGroot looks like, I think he's either, I think he has a connection hiccup, okay. I thought I saw him hitting pit road. We got Charles Teed in the 3rd position. We saw him make that huge charge at the initial start of the race. And then 4th at 36 of Eric Peterson. I saw you caught him making that great save earlier to avoid that incident as well. And then right behind them, so we saw Jim Brooks, pole sitter, led a couple of laps and actually just kisses the wall there after turn number 4. That may have been a hard enough hit to affect the handling of that car, so we'll have to keep an eye. He's going to have to try to limp this thing along, though. But that car is going to probably be a bit of a handful to drive there. And the car we saw passing when that happened, so now moving up to 5th is that 27 of Craig Forsyth. And then 6th is Gary Corley. And then we talked about William George a little earlier. He's worked his way up into that 7th position. And you see Jim Herrick here in 8th. And Scott Rankin now up into that 9th spot. And yeah, I think Jim is definitely hurt. And yeah, he's going to have to hit pit road. He knows that was too much of a hit there. So this is an unscheduled stop for that 51 machine. So this will put him most likely a lap down. So this again, I talked about strategies on tires and fuel. So this will be his fast repair. But what he could look at doing is maybe just taking tires off and just getting that splash of fuel in that fast repair. Save a couple of seconds off your pit stop, and maybe that'll help him stay closer towards the lead lap here.
Hey, Go, does this series here have the lucky dog? If a caution does come out, you think he can get his lap back?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they definitely do, and yeah, I think that's going to have to be what he's looking for, because I say right now he's sitting on pit road. The field's already swung on by him. Now he's down and away, and about an 8-second stop. So to me, that says that's going to be 4 tires and fuel on that pit stop. So what he does have going for him right now is the fact that he, I believe, is the first car 1 down, because again, Andrew Wood is kind of on the tail end of 2 laps down. Right now is 1 lap down on the numbers, but is right on the edge of that 2 down. But I'm going to jump back behind him, though, because we've got a really good battle here going on between Charles Teed, Matt Wagner, now Craig Forsyth. These guys are jumping lane to lane, trying to find that track position, trying to find that clean air to put on these front wings. And yeah, they're almost going no holds barred right now. They're definitely being aggressive here. Yeah, you're exactly right, though, Jason. Though right now, the lucky dog is pretty much Jim's best bet here to get back on the lead lap, as he's about half a straightaway behind the last of the drivers here on the main draft pack. So he's just going to have to basically kind of hope for a timely yellow while he's still the first car 1 down, and see how everything shakes out. But yeah, right now he's in that spot. Andrew Wood, like I said, he's kind of on the tail end of 2 down in that 64 car. As I say, I think these leaders are opting to just go ahead, and it looks like we're kind of in that point of the race where some of these leaders are just opting to be a little bit more, a little easier here. Maybe try to save that little bit more fuel in these cars. Of course, as I say that, we see Craig Forsyth trying to go after Charles Teed there for that third position. But yeah, it looks like I think these guys have mellowed down just a little bit from what we saw those couple laps ago. So I think there's probably some fuel strategy going on board right now.
It's going to be very interesting if this thing goes green, Joe, just to see what kind of strategies these guys has got to give.
Yeah, exactly right. So the one I'm going to be watching, actually, I should say, while we're watching a little further back there, Matt Wagner's actually taking the point now away from Jari Brubacher, so move that 6 car to the front here. But that's what I'm going to be watching, actually, is that 6 car, the 49 car, to see when does he need to pit. As again, he last pitted on lap number 4. We had that caution, that last one where he stayed out, so he probably could save a little bit there, but we're basically around, 26 laps or so since his last pit stop. So I'm thinking probably by about 35, depending on how aggressive he's been driving that car, we might see that the 49 hit pit road. But right now, I'll say it doesn't look like he's doing a lot of fuel saving here as he jumps back inside of that number 6 car to try to take the front of this lead back. I'll keep running back a little bit for us. I kind of cut off there for a moment with the pit stop. In the 10th spot now is the number 3 of Alec Coates. Behind him, the 11 of Anders Arhus, who's gained 8 spots so far tonight. And then behind him, the 60 Joseph Morales plus 6. We mentioned Jeff Heisong had that contact earlier as he's been able to recover so far to get back up into the 18th position. And then you got the 95 of TJ Allen plus 8 for him, up to 14. So good gains for him so far in this one as well. And then you got the 04 of Chummy Miller in the 15th position. Jack Walls in 16th right behind him, as those are currently the last 2 on the lead lap. So we'll definitely keep an eye there to see how the strategy is going. I think Jack's probably doing some pretty aggressive fuel savings. Like I said, knowing Jack is that he's really kind of the fuel whisperer, if you will. So he always has something up his sleeve, so I'll be keeping an eye on him for sure. And then unfortunately, I said some of these other drivers, actually, it looks like we might have, double checking. Yeah, I think Nick DeGroot actually may have had a connection issues. I was trying to figure out where he was hiding at. I think Nick may be out of this one as well with some connection difficulties as well, unfortunately, in that 89. Again, one of our top 4 drivers in the championship last season.
Yeah, I've been sitting here watching Jim in the back here. He has no drafting help at all. He's out there running by himself. It's very unfortunate that he got in the wall like that and had to take the pit stop. I'm just kind of worried that he's fixing to go another lap down if we stay green. I know Jim's probably sitting there wishing for a caution.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. When you're an administrator but also a racer, it's like, man, I want these races to be clean and green, but I could really use a yellow right now. So you're kind of torn between a rock and a hard place sometimes when you're in that position. But you're right though. Yeah, he's pretty much stuck on his own. I'm going to look at his lap times compared to the guys around. Because last time by, he's actually running pretty good laps. It looks like in relation to the leaders. Last time by, Jari Brubacher was a 32:48. Jim Brooks was at 32:65, so just only about 2/10 off. But honestly, the laps you should be comparing are with Andrew Wood, who's a 32:61 to Jim's 32:65. And actually, as I said, here comes Jari Brubacher. We're talking about the fuel window. Here he comes, lap 35. Had last pitted at lap 4, so with the yellows coming at 36. So yeah, it's basically about that 32 laps, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that range with the yellow. So yeah, I think that's going to be the window we look at. It's probably about 30 or so laps of fuel. So this will be the next question, of course, too, is can these guys make a green flag pit stop without going a lap down? Because that's going to also kind of shake up the running order potentially. So I'm watching Jari. He's in his pit stall now, and he's just now leaving his pits. And the leader's going to swing right on by him. So actually, this is going to now, let's say this is the danger spot for Jim here, because now Jari is going to be sitting in that first car, 1 down position. In that 49 car as he leaves pit road as we're talking about that. Whereas as he's through turns 2 right now, Jim just entering turn number 1, so Yari's easily going to be in that spot. And he's also going to tack onto the back of this draft here, so he's going to be able to get up to speed right away. But yeah, like I mentioned though, Yari had pitted, or he did not pit there, so he had about 10 laps less fuel than the leaders, so to say. So we saw him around 36, and to me that means about 46 for the leaders here, for them to make their most likely their schedule start. Just depends on how aggressive they're being. And we talk about aggressive they're being, and then it says they go 3 wide here for the lead here between that 50 and the 6, as they're going to drop Andrew Wood here now back to 2 laps down that 64 car. So I'm curious to see what's Andrew's response to this, as you saw him try to peek to the outside of Teed, but just wasn't enough room, so he's going to have to tuck back in behind that number 50.
Yeah, the 2 guys up front look like they're checking out and moving right along.
Yeah, so that's saying you can see, yeah, they're trying to break the draft. You saw Matt kind of weave back and forth, try to break away. Charles having none of it, though. He was right away reacting to that and saying he's going to get the line into 3. He's going to take the spot out of 4. I say again, this is where I'm. Ooh, Craig Forsyth, a little bobble there out of 4. May have just kissed the wall at the right rear. Looks like, I think he's going to be able to get away with that. But yeah, my question is going to be, like I said, the fuel mileage on these guys. How aggressive are these guys maybe being on the field numbers? Maybe these guys are going to have to pit sooner than that 10-lap window we saw over Yari. That's where I'm going to be really interested to see. Like I said, Yari pitting on lap number 35. So if all was correct, I mean, like I said, it was about a 10-lap difference between that first and second yellow. So you would think we would see them around 45. But as I say that, here comes one right off the bat. Oh, that's Andrew Wood, actually. So he's having to hit the pit road now as well. And that's going to drop him, I believe, a 3rd lap down once he completes his pit cycle.
Yeah, I'll look for them to start pitting probably anytime between now and, say, the next 10 laps before lap 50, especially them leaders up front.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I think we're going to see, especially these top 2, I think we'll see them in the earliest of our leaders. It's just going to be all about kind of who is running how aggressively. And that's, like I said, Charles Teed, a big hit to the outside wall. I think that we just talked about having to force your hand. That's going to be exactly what's going to happen to him here. I think that was a pretty solid hit there. So I think we're going to probably see that 50 hit pit road this time. As I don't think that car is going to hold up too much longer with as solid of a hit as he had. Although he's not losing the draft too badly on Matt Wagner. But I feel like we'll see what he decides here to see maybe how 3 and 4 handles for him. But I feel like that's going to probably make an earlier pit stop for Charles Teed than he'd be looking for. Surprisingly, though, he actually stays out. So we'll keep an eye and see what he does there. However, Chummy Miller, he's hit pit road in that number 04 car. So that's his scheduled pit stop there as well. Also, TJ Allen hitting pit road in the 95 and bringing along with him Alec Coates. So, like you said, pit road window is starting to open here. And so far, they are looking at like they might hit that 10-lap window. But I'm honestly impressed that Charles Teed is able to hang on to that car like he has. I thought we'd see him jump in pretty quickly like we saw with Jim Brooks after he made his contact. As I say that, here comes that the 6 and the 50. And pretty much, yeah, there's a big chunk of them coming in here coming to lap 44. So that's going to cycle Scott Rankin to the lead here in that 156. Staying out with him along is going to be Jim Herrick, Jeff Heisong, Joseph Morales, and Jack Walls. The drivers to note on those are going to be Jeff Heisong, Jack Walls. They both topped off on that 1 to go, so we'll be keeping an eye on them. But you can see here comes Scott Rankin. He's hitting pit road. And I believe, yep, here comes Jim Herrick as well, Jeff Heisong, and Joseph Morales as well. So now the question is, we're talking about Jack Walls. I felt like he's been being aggressive on the fuel savings. And yeah, here he goes. He's going to go another lap here. So he's going to cross line at 45, which is going to put us at 56 to go. Can Jack Walls maybe pull a strategy here and make this on a 1-stopper instead of, I believe all these drivers here are going to have to make a 2nd stop even when they pit next time. And I see some smoke on the backstretch. I think that was Charles Teed. Go back and hunt him down here in that 50. Yeah, he's just back getting up to speed here. Let's see what happened to Charles here. Oh, he just caught the apron there, caught the banking, I should say, coming out of the pit exit there. Loops the car around. You saw it caught the pit cone as well, but I think he's going to get away. We'll see if he has to serve a pit penalty potentially or not. But yeah, pretty much just a couple 360s and gets going again. So not what Charles T is looking for. It's just kind of from bad to worse over these last couple laps for him. But still, like I said, Jack Walls, he continues to run here. 46 coming to 47. Now he's going to hit pit road coming to lap number 47 in that number 83 car. So that's going to leave him, so trying to do some quick math here. I'm going to say that's about, what, 54 laps to go. So if we break that in half, I think that's doable. I mean, that would be, what, 27? If he splits that in half? I think he can make it from here on one more stop, if I'm not mistaken. However, while he hits pit road, there goes Jari Brubacher taking over the lead of this race. You just have to wonder, too, Jack has to be careful not to have lost too much time running that fuel strategy. But that's put the 49 back out in front. Again, Jari had pitted about 10 laps earlier. Actually, looks like about 8 laps earlier than Matt Wagner. And so these are going to be the drivers 1, 2 right here. So we'll keep an eye. And right now, say we're approaching the halfway point. Let's say pretty much the field here all completed their pit stop cycles. And then with the cycles complete, what has happened, though, is it's now put Jim Herrick in the 40 car as the driver in that lucky dog position as the first car, 1 down. And then it's going to be then Alec Coates is the second car, 1 down. Actually, no, I'm sorry, now 2 down, actually. And trying to see where Jim Brooks is in relation to all of this. Oh, he's off sequence right now. Okay. Right now, Jim's showing in the 7th position. But again, last pit on lap number 24. So probably not too far away from having to make his next pit stop as well. Howard, this could work out, honestly. Because to say he's going to be in the window too, where he can make it after this stop, he can also make it on one more. So it just depends on the rest of the field where their pit stops are going to cycle around.
Yeah, I see Jim probably coming in probably the next 10 to 15 laps if we continue to go green.
Yeah, I think we're actually, honestly, I think actually probably even closer than that, because he's probably had to be pretty aggressive on his fuel numbers, like you said, being by himself earlier. So I'll be curious to see when he hits pit road, because like I said, he pitted on 24 and we're on 49 right now, so that's about 25 laps or so. So I'm thinking, yeah, probably, honestly, even probably within the next 5 laps maximum, we'll see him in. So right now, though, so what I do want to look at is, I'm trying to find where Jack Walls is. I want to try to look at their pit strategies here, see if it'll show me what Jack's got going. And no, it's not going to tell me, of course. But right now you can see the window difference, though. You see Matt Wagner at 43, Jari Brubacher 35. Pretty much everybody's right around the 43. Then you see Jim, of course, that big outlier there at 24. Then Jeff Heisong a lap 44 as well. So Scott Rankin, Jeff Heisong, they went 1 lap further. But I'm not sure that's going to make enough of a difference for the fuel difference. And the gap right now is it's Matt Wagner and Jari Brubacher. But yeah, as I said, actually, yeah, here comes Jim Brooks now hitting pit road for his stop. But yeah, I'm watching who's joining the party there again, and that's going to be that 64 of Andrew Wood trying to get back to that. I think get back to 1 lap down if he can stay in front of that 6 car. Yeah, and that's exactly what's just happened. So now Andrew Wood sitting right on the tail end of 1 lap down, I guess you could say, as Jim Brooks is just now leaving his pits, again, having now gone 1 lap down once more. So yeah, so right now on the Lucky Dog battle, I believe sitting in the ideal position is going to be between, I think, Jim Brooks and Jim Herrick, if I'm not mistaken, as Jim just now comes out of turn number 2. And there's Jim Herrick actually right behind him. So that's going to be the Lucky Dog battle at the moment, is that 51 and the 40. And there's only kind of a couple seconds between the 2 of them. However, Craig Forsyth up front, he's decided to join the mix for the lead. He's working the outside of Matt Wagner. He's going to take the lead here in that 27 car. And again, these guys are just kind of fighting, but also strategizing while behind that 64. I think Andrew Wood's going to, again, probably try to drive the most aggressive out of the rest of these guys. Just needs to basically be in that position to have a chance, if we get another yellow, to get back into the mix of this race.
Yeah, Gail, there's action all over this track. I wish we could show it all, but there's some good racing going on in the back, middle, and up front. Yeah,
exactly right. So you got Gary Corley right now working with Jeff Heisong. They're just a couple of tenths apart. And the same thing goes with Joseph Morales and Anders Arhus. These guys just about 3/10 of a second apart. And so we got some teammates battling as well. You got Shomi Miller, TJ Allen right here, 13 to 14, like you said. And it's exactly right. It's like these guys are just going back and forth. You see one going kind of enters in low, then washes up. The other one kind of does that over-under, if you will. and these guys just going back and forth. And I say, and that's what's fun about this is that you got little fights all over the place. And yeah, you're right. I wish I kind of had some more abilities to show a little bit of everything right now. 'Cause like I said, we got a good battle here, 13th and 14th, 8th and 9th. And also, actually, I'm going to jump a little further because here goes Scott Rankin. He's going to work himself up into that 4th spot. So actually, Scott, like I said, he went that 1 lap longer, but he's actually got back into this lead draft right here. So he's going to be in the thick of this as well. That's going to give us 5 drivers, it looks like, in this lead battle right now. The one potential question mark is Jari Brupacher, like I mentioned, not pitting under that yellow at around lap number 15, I believe it was. So he's about 10 laps different on fuel, but we've got a nice little train up front here now.
Rico, do you see maybe next pit stop, these guys maybe taking 2 tires and trying to finish the race out, or how you think that's going to play out?
Nah, I think next up we'll definitely see 4 tires. I think for pretty much everybody. I'll say because that's as like I said for those that maybe aren't familiar with Indy cars, you really have only 2 options. It's either tires or no tires. These guys, just the way it is, they have enough crew members to basically just basically do all 4 tires at the same time. So I think these guys are going to have to pretty much fill these things to the brim still, and even then I think it'll be a question mark, can they make it to the end? So yeah, I think all of these leaders are going to be doing the 4 tires and fuel. However, if anybody's maybe, let's say, a couple of gallons short, I think that's where then we might see that splash and go either towards the end of the race, or we might even see some drivers opt to do some strategy and maybe short pit, take that splash of fuel once they're in their window. Because again, like we mentioned, this series no green white checkered, so basically you're racing the lap number 100. So these guys like to, a lot of times they'll try to work these races backwards when they can, but it's going to be fun to see what the strategies are going to be, because again, looking at the pit stops and laps and everything, Jari Brupacher was on lap number 35. We're on 58 right now, so that's about 23, now 24 laps since he last pitted. So again, probably going to see Jari in about the next 5 laps, which should then be pitting him. And I think, like I said, I think outside of the window to make it to the end. So really, I'm going to be paying a very close eye to see maybe who pits with, if you can get to maybe 30 to go, I think you have a really good shot at making it to the end without too much drama if you still go fuel save. But I think any further than that, I don't think these drivers are having a fuel to the end. So really the one that's really on my radar is Jack Walls. He pitted at lap 46, about 2 laps later than the drivers that went out the longest. And he's been definitely driving the most patient of all these guys. The only concern I have for him is he's about a half a lap down, so you just have to worry if he's been saving too much fuel and losing too much time to do so, where it might offset the gains of reducing that 1 pit stop.
Well, one thing these guys will know, that this race is going to be over at lap 100, and they don't have to worry about, oh, do we have enough fuel to make that green-white checkered? So that's one less thing off these guys' mind.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so it takes that little extra math out, like you said, with those next-gen cars, the Super Speedway series that we also run with Area 51. And you'll see that. You'll see drivers pit. You're like, okay, they're in the window, they can make it to the end. But then they wait like 2, 3, 4 laps before they pit. And sometimes like, wait, why are they? Oh, yeah, that's right. They need to save just in case, because... And it's not just one green light checker. There's 3 attempts should they need it here with Area 51 for the next-gen, for the trucks, and then for the Super Speedway Xfinity. So... there's a lot of potentials for those, and that's why you see those strategies come into play. But with these guys, like you said, they know the lap they're racing to. They're going to 100, and so they can pretty much just set their fuel marks exactly there. But right now, I think they're a little bit preoccupied with these battles that they've got going on.
Yeah, these guys is not backing down for sure, man. They in it to win it, that's for sure.
Yep, and actually here comes Jari Brupacher now. So we talked about his pit stop. He's pitting now at lap number 62, locks him down pretty hard there. And actually you see the pit cone there for that split second. That pit cone is a fair bit before the pit wall. So those guys have to be really ready to stop on the pits a lot earlier than you'd be hoping for. And actually I can update you as well. I was wondering what happened to Jim Herrick. He actually had a speeding penalty, and that's why he got held, and that's why he's down a lap in that number 40 machine. However, up front, though, Matt Wagner's starting to build a little bit of a breathing room right now. So he's got traffic behind him with Andrew Wood, but again, that's not for the lead. So honestly not in a bad spot right now if you're that 6 car. So you've got a little bit of margin to third or to second place of Craig Forsyth, about 1.2 seconds. So I think Matt right now, I almost wondering this might be an opportunity for Matt to maybe just cruise behind that 64 car, save that little bit of fuel, maybe get one more lap out of it, and then see what you have in store. Because while the guys behind you are in draft range, I don't know, I feel like he's in a pretty good spot, but it looks like he just wants to keep that pace high in that 6 car. And I'm thinking this again might be the tale of two strategies here. Maybe some guys are trying to back it down a little bit, try to run that fuel number. Matt thinking nobody can make it, so he's just going to stay on the full aggression. As we're at 36 to go, like I said, I think about 27 laps was the full rich, basically like full send mode. That's about how far you could go. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how far these drivers can make it before they have to make their next pit stop here. So I'm still peeking around trying to see where some of the battles are. And like I said, yeah, Jack Wall's definitely, he's on the fuel conserve mode. So Jack's going to be the one I'm going to be watching to see where everything cycles out for him. But like I said, for the battles on track, though, we still got a couple of good ones here. Like I said, Jeff Heisen, Gary Corley, they're just a couple tenths away from one another. And then really the closest battle on track has been right here. You got Craig Forsyth, Scott Rankin, Eric Peterson all on top of each other there. As you see Andrew Wood, he's just hit pit road now in that 64 machine. And this is at 34 to go. So for Andrew, same thing. He's not going to be good to go to the end from here. So now the question is, when do we see these leaders blink and make their final pit stops? Again, it was 43 for Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, 44 for Scott Rankin. And then the driver that went the furthest of the leaders here on the lead lap was Jack Walls at 46. So that's going to be the numbers I'm going to be watching for these guys. So there goes Scott Rankin. He's going to swing around that number 27. He's going to move up into second position. They're about one. We talked earlier also, Jason, about the draft window. It's right on the edge right now. Matt Wagner's about 1.4 seconds ahead of these guys. Scott Rankin, Craig Forsyth, they might have to work together here to close that gap a little bit, try to pick up that 6 cars draft. Because right now he's actually stretched out a little bit now, showing 1.46 seconds interval. So I think we talked about that kind of that leapfrog strategy. If they want to get back into his draft, I think they may need to do that. But Matt's done a really, really good job of being able to give himself a little bit of breathing room here, and he can just focus forward, not even have to worry about those cars behind him. But right now, they're still trying to keep an eye on the strategy side of things. But so far, leaders have yet to pit here. We're going to be coming around to lap number 70, and this is going to be interesting because we're getting into that window. Actually, as I said, here they come coming to lap number 70 as we speak. So that's going to basically put them at 31 to go, and I think that just might be a little bit too far to make it to the end if you're these top these 3 drivers here pitting now. I feel a little better if you're these guys right now like Craig Forsyth, Eric Peterson. I think 30 could be doable. 31 might be a little bit tough.
Yeah, it looks like we got the leaders coming on pit road now.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, you got Matt Wagner there, Scott Rankin, Anders Arhus, Charles Teed. They're all hitting pit road. Gary Corley's in as well. So you can see they're all starting to roll out now. So now it's just to kind of see who can hit their marks in and out the best. And Scott Rankin with a great pit stop. He's going to actually get side by side with Matt Wagner. He was about a second and a half behind on entry. They're going to come out right together. So that's a great job by that 156 car, apologies, to be getting in and out of pit road here. But I'm watching, though, Craig Forsyth. I think he's been working the fuel game here because Eric Peterson, I need to mention him. He's hit pit road in that 36 car. But I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Craig Forsyth. He's going to pit here coming to 29 to go. I'm thinking this is definitely a strategy that can make it to the end. Same thing with Jeff Heisen coming in with him. Then it's going to come to Joseph Morales, who's going to go a little further even yet still. And he's a little further forward as well than Jack Wall. So I think Joseph Morales is also in a really good spot here. Could make it to the end from this point in the race once he pits.
Yeah, I was watching Scott coming out of the pits, and he hit the commitment cone, the blue cone coming out of the pits. I hope that doesn't throw him a penalty.
That's a good question. I think if he hits the cone, it's okay. But I have seen before, though, these cars, they hit that cone, it will do damage to that front wing. So he's got to be careful about that. Looks like he's going to get away with it. But we're coming down to it. I mean, we've got 29 to go right now. As Joseph Morales, he's going to hit pit road coming to 28 to go. And yeah, I think that 60 car, he's in a great position here. Here comes Jack Wall's going to swing back around him. And that's going to put Jack back into lead here as we get, like I said, 29 to go in this one. Sorry, 28 to go now. I think Jack Walls is for sure good to go to the end if we stay green. If we get a yellow, that's going to probably put more drivers in the mix here. The question, like I said, for Jack Walls, my only concern is, has he lost too much time to the leaders by trying to save all the fuel that he's been doing? So this is going to be a very interesting cat and mouse game, because the other thing for Jack is he'll be able to run these final laps, I feel like, a lot more aggressively, because like I said, I think the fuel window is about 27 if you run full rich. And right now we've got 27 to go in that in the race here as we watch that 83 car lead another lap.
Great pit stop by Joseph Morales. He's just now coming back out on the track. Looks like he's scored second right now.
Yeah, I say he's coming out right now. Looks like he's going to come out right behind Anders Arhus. I say the big question is going to be the gap to the leaders once everything cycles around. So that's going to be what we're going to be watching for as well. But right now, it looks like the leaders are, once everything cycles around, it's going to be Jari Brupacher, Matt Wagner, Scott Rankin, Craig Forsyth. Those are going to be the 4 drivers that are in the hunt right now. But again, Jari, we know he's got one more pit stop to make, so Yari's going to be out of the mix here at some point in the race. Just the question is when, and maybe he's just going to hope for a late yellow, maybe try to force everybody else into the pits with him. Let's say then Eric Peterson, Jim Brooks. Again, Jim's going to have to make one more pit stop as well in that 51 machine. So, as I said, here comes Jack Walls. He's going to make his final stop here, coming to 25 to go. So, yeah, so Jack is easily good to go to the end here. This will be his final stop for sure in that 83 car, at least scheduled, I should say. But like I said, they're going to lose a lot of track position because here come the leaders already, and they're going to come around him. So he's going to be probably, again, about, I would say, roughly a half a lap down once he gets back out of the pits.
Looks like we got Jack Walls back on the pits.
Yep, exactly right. Yep, he's down and away already. That's his final service for the race. Oh, again, knock on wood, scheduled service for the race. I don't want to jump the gun there, but that's going to say he was definitely working the field numbers. Now he's just got to hope that things work out for him. So we're going to keep an eye on Jack and see where he cycles out. But it looks like, yeah, this is going to be a little risky for Jack, is the fact that he's going to still be on the lead lap, but not by a ton. So at this point for Jack now, he's just got to try to grab some gears and try to pick up that draft right there. But I think for Jack here, you're done saving fuel. You just go full rich and you let her rip and see what you got at the end of this race. So we'll kind of see where he winds up. But like I said, not too far ahead of the battle for the lead, which right now, again, Jari Brupacher in that position. And I think the gamesmanship is already starting to brew here. You see Matt Wagner, he's definitely kind of taking the notch down a little bit in that 6 car. I think Scott Rankin know they got to save fuel here to make sure that they can make it to that lap 100 mark. And again, Craig Forsyth, he's got 2 laps advantage on these guys. I think he can get away with being, I think honestly, once he's in his window, he needs to go aggressive and he needs to force their hand, make him burn more fuel. If he has the fuel to make it, he needs to force those guys to burn more to put himself in the chance to win this race.
Yeah, I bet some of these guys did not realize this thing was going to go as green as long as it has since the last caution. But it's really going to bring out a lot of good fuel strategies and tires, and hopefully these guys will pan out the way it want to be panned out.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's that risk versus reward. You just don't know which gamble is going to work. Is it going to be the fuel saving strategy? Is it going to be kind of being aggressive? And because I mean, you have options. You can be aggressive early. You could be aggressive late. You just don't know which is going to be the decisive approach to win this race. So, like I said, right now, I think Craig Forsyth, if we stay green, I think he's in the catbird seat in that number 27 car, because he's in the draft with these guys. And I think at some point, like I said, I think Matt and Scott are going to have to save a little more fuel. They have 2 less laps under green. Or I should say 2 more laps under green than Craig. So Craig's basically got 2 laps of fuel advantage over these guys. And so I think, like I said, I think he needs to be the one to kind of push the pace here, because you can tell Matt's just on cruise control, I feel like, in that 6 car. So I think this is where Craig's got to turn the wick up here, get around them. And then, like I said, I wouldn't wait to the fuel number until it's time to go. I think like I said, I think you set the pace here. You get around these two cars, you run as long as you need to save until you're in your window, and then just full rich, put it to the end and see if they can keep up with you. So if I'm Craig, that's my approach. I say he's a lot better at this than I am, so we'll see what he's got in store here as he's looking right now underneath Scott Rankin, trying to see if he can grab third spot.
Yeah, we sit back here looking at Jack, seeing what kind of improvements he's made after that pit stop. He's currently 12th right now. He's actually chasing down TJ Allen right now for that 11th spot.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so again, and Jack pitted on lap 75, so Jack's easily good to go to the end. Honestly, a little surprised Jack hasn't got a little bit more aggressive here and try to get around these guys and just kind of set sail. Like I said, I feel like he's got the field to go to the end. Now, as I say that, he goes 3 wide here. I say that's going to try to get Jack, I believe, back into the 11th position here. Looks like he's going to clear as they enter turn number 1. The other driver that I feel like is probably good to go to the end as well is Joseph Morales, who's actually sitting in that top 10. However, he is about 10 seconds ahead of Jack Walls. So and that's going to be the question mark is, like I said, if anybody has to take a splash of fuel, I mean, Jari Brubacher, we know his hands are going to be forced. He's going to have to pit. There's no question he's not going to be able to make it. The ones I'm going to be watching, though, is going to be that battle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And actually, I'm gonna start including 5th and 6th as well, because these guys are right about to get back into the mix as well. Eric Peterson, Jeff Heisong, they are in that draft window, so they can get up there. They just got to hit their marks and try to kind of avoid that arrow wash. So honestly, it could be pretty much a 6-car race for the win here. But like I said, right now, the one that I still think needs to start to push his, basically force his hand a little bit more, I think, is Craig Forsyth. I want to see him start to work around these guys, because you can tell they're backing it down. But my only thought is maybe Craig doesn't want to pass them, because this is probably making them burn more fuel, as he now is going to get, I believe, around Scott Rankin to grab that 3rd spot.
Well, it looks like we got about 16 laps left, Gail. Anything can happen between here and the end of this thing. Jim Brooks still looks like he's still on the point to get that lucky dog if a caution comes out. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, these races, you never know until you get to that white flag. Then at that point, you know, okay, it's going to go at least green to the end. And again, that's part of why I feel like Craig needs to kind of just be a little more aggressive here. Like I said, because if there is a yellow, I feel like you want to be the one to be in control of this race. So, like I said, he's been able to get around Scott Rankin. Now he's starting to put some pressure on Matt Wagner there for that 2nd position. Saying Jari Brubacher, I think he knows he doesn't have the field to go to the end, so he's just going full send here. It's like, well, I got to pit, might as well try to build the gap that I can right now in that 49 machine. So Jari, I suspect he pit on 62, so again, rough math, I would say probably going to be pitting with around, I'd say 10 to go, somewhere in that range. We'll probably see that 49 make his final scheduled stop. But like I said, just unfortunately not what he's hoping for. However, pressure is on Matt Wagner. He has that 27 all over the back gearbox.
Yeah, it looked like these guys, since it's coming down like 14 to go, 13, these guys are trying to use everything they got to get where they need to go.
Yeah, I feel like it's starting to become a little bit of a chess match between these top 3 right now. They've been able to separate themselves again from Eric Peterson by about 1.2 seconds. So, like I said, Eric's going to have to try to get a little more to chase back up to them. However, one I am noticing is Gary Corley. He's starting to put some pressure on these guys as well. Like I said, Jeff Heisong's right there in front of him. Then Eric Peterson not too far away as well. So let's say that's going to battle. These guys could be battling for the top 5 here again. But it's all, I mean, the fuel's going to be the question mark here. As you see, there goes Gary Corley. He's going to try to work the inside here. Looks like he'll clear. But can he hold the spot out of 4? And yes, he will. So move Gary Corley up into the 5th position. Because as I say that, here comes Jari Brubacher at 12 to go, making his final stop of the race. And while all that was going on, Craig Forsyth said, you know what? I'm going to go take the lead. So we got to move Craig up into lead, because he was able to get around Matt Wagner when the pit stop happened. So we'll jump back. Let's take one more look at that pass for the lead here. So watch the replay here as you see Craig just kind of enters and just tucks it straight down to the bottom. Gets a great exit out of 4 and then just runs that short line to the start-finish line. So move the 27 now to the point here as we've got 11 laps remaining here. As you see, they just now passed Jari Brubacher. That puts Jari 1 lap down. Like I said, now for Craig, just the question is, can he basically, I think if he can run these two behind him, just maybe not run them out of field, but just make them have to run harder than they want to, because that'll allow them to kind of force their hands, like I said, to maybe have to save that little bit, those last couple laps, give Craig some maybe a little bit of breathing room for these last couple laps, because we got 10 to go now.
I've been sitting here watching Scott. He's coming quick. He's right now he's in third. He's looking for that second spot. But I think that's the one we need to watch out for.
Yeah, no, Scott's been a very fast learner. So he actually just pretty much started running these Indy cars last season with Area 51, and yeah, he's been definitely a quick study. So he's definitely going to be one to watch. Also been noticing Eric Peterson. He's starting to bring that gap down. Here comes Matt Wagner. He's going to have to pit. We were wondering, could he make it? He cannot. So 9 to go. Matt Wagner. He's going to hit pit road in that 6 machine. Probably, I think you'll see is that splash of fuel like we talked about. I'll watch his pit stop. But like I said, now that, like you said, that opens the door. Now Scott Rankin, can he stretch the field to the end? And you kind of wonder if Matt had to pit there. He last pit at 69. Can these rest of these guys, some of them pit at 69, some at 70? It seems awful early for Matt to pit if he couldn't make it to the end. So I'm very interested to see what the reaction is going to be. Does anybody else blink once they saw him drop in? And the answer is no. Nobody else coming to pit road. So like I said, Craig Forsyth, now he's got to hold off that 156 of Scott Rankin here as we got 8 to go.
Matt just come out of the pits. Looks like he just got a splash, and he's rolling.
Yep, looking for that number 6 car. Yep, there he is. Just got put a lap down there. Yeah, 4.3 second pit stop, so you're exactly right. Just a quick splash of fuel for him. However, is now sitting 1 lap down. Also got to mention Gary Corley in the 7 car. He hit pit road as well. So now just watching the rest of the field. So this might, we got one up against the wall here. This could possibly bring out a yellow. Trying to catch who, I think that was, no, it's not TJ Allen. Who was that up in the, oh yeah, that's going to bring out the yellow. Oh, what a time for that one. And I believe, trying to find out who exactly, William George. Caught the outside wall, got stuck up against it. You can see just trying to get it unpinned here. So unfortunately, that's going to bring out the yellow, and that's going to be the worst timing of a yellow for someone like Matt Wagner, who, like I said, was in that position and now is going to be, unfortunately, trapped a lap down, because I believe Jari Brubacher might be ahead of him for that position. I'll have to wait and see when everything cycles through. But right now I'm showing Jari ahead of that number 6 car, I'm sorry. So it's all to play for here. This is going to get very interesting. And that being said, we got that yellow with 7 to go. We will not be ending under yellow here. We will have a late race restart. And now, I mean, what do you do here, Jason? Like I said, we were talking about fuel mileage, tires, and all that. I mean, the question is going to be, what's more important here? You think track position, keep that lead? Or is it going to be more important to have some fresh tires, maybe make some bigger moves with these cars?
Well, in this situation, I've been in this situation before, and it's kind of a catch 2020, really. You sit there and you're like, well, I'll just take fuel, get that position up front, start in the top 5, hoping to do something, and then eat alive with the tires that other drivers have received behind me, and then go to the back. So really, it's just going to be a toss-up, really.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think track position is going to be the key, because again, there's no green light checker, so you know you're only going to have the one chance to do it. And late call by Craig Forsyth. He's going to pit here. He decided, you know what, I want the tires. Scott Rankin says, thank you, I will take that. And I believe, even with that though, I believe that's going to still put the lucky dog to the number 49 of Jari Brubacher. We should see him swing around. There he goes. Like I said, unfortunately, I think that short pit strategy, I don't think Matt had to pit when he pitted, but this is going to trap him 1 lap down in that 6 car. You know this is going to sting for him, because he was in a great position here. So we're going to have a late race restart here with, I believe, 3 to go once we get around here. So it's going to be Scott Rankin, Eric Peterson, Jeff Heisong, Anders Arhus, and we're mentioning that pit strategy running longer than everybody. Jack Walls in that 5th position there in that number 83. So he's going to be right in the thick of it with plenty of fuel, I feel like, to go to the end. Craig Forsyth, he's going to be the first one out with fresh tires. Will tires make a difference for that 27 car to have a chance to get this win?
This is going to be one finish you don't want to miss, guys.
Yeah, exactly right. This is going to be a wild one to the end. So We're going to have, I believe it's going to be 9 drivers on the lead lap from Scott Rankin to Jari Brupacher. Downside for Jari here is he's going to restart at the tail end because, of course, when you get that lucky dog, you wind up behind everybody. So that being said, we're going to still have a pretty good battle also for the drivers that are a lap or more down. And you got Matt Wagner there in 10th, but he's got a handful of drivers in company with him. We got Jim Brooks, Jim Herrick, TJ Allen's there as well. So we've got about 4 drivers that could be battling as well for that lucky dog position if we get a yellow, which again, at that point the race will be over. Actually, as I said, here comes Matt Wagner hitting pit road. That surprises me here. I would have stayed out to keep that track position, but maybe decide the same thing. Maybe decides tires are going to be more important. So that being said, the lights are off of the pace car. Yep, we are 4 to go here. We're going to restart this thing with 3 laps to go. So not quite a green-white checkered, but it's like kind of an unofficial, if you will, green-white checkered here to hopefully get to this one under, I should say, get this finished under green flag conditions here.
Let's not count out Mr. Walls. He's sitting back there in fifth position right now. He could come out with the win tonight if he's got the power to get around these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Jack's going to have about 5 lap fresher tires than these guys. And again, I mean, he has no question marks in fuel. I think this will put everybody good to go to fuel to the end. I don't think we'll have to see any fuel savings. But that's going to, again, though, I'm going to be curious about the tires. I think Craig Forsyth's going to be the one to watch because he's going to have fresh tires. He can make big moves now in that number 27 car. And saying that might make that aero push a little bit less effective, where he can maybe make some moves around some of these guys who are, let's say, in second, third, fourth that can't make those moves. So that's going to be fun to see as well. So we'll see, though. Basically, I'd say it's going to be, let's watch Scott Rankin. Let's see. Let's watch him, watch Craig Forsyth, and see kind of who comes out on top. That could be the question of the clean air versus tires. Which one is going to be our winning strategy here tonight?
And it would not surprise me to see these guys 3 and even 4 wide to come to the end of this thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, yeah, we're going to see the full width of the track in action here tonight as the pace car is off. Now, again, Scott Rankin, he's got to try to get a good restart here, try to maybe catch some guys sleeping just a little bit here. As you can see, everybody's starting to kind of get a little antsy. There goes the green flag. He jumps to the inside, tries to break the draft. And a great start behind him by Jeff Heisong. He is right after these guys, and they're just swallowing up that purple car, which I believe was Eric Peterson. And yeah, Eric's going to drop like a rock here, unfortunately. And this is giving Scott Rankin a little bit of breathing room right off the bat here. And you talk about Jack Walls, he's already battling for a second. I saw a car spinning off the back here. Looks like we will stay green. That was the 3 of Alec Coates, but he made contact to the inside wall, I believe. But we stay green, so that's great news for the racers here. I say probably Scott was hoping for that yellow, but we stay green. We got 2 to go at the line. You can hear Scott just completely in the throttle there, but working the gears, trying to see what he can do. But right now is definitely trying to play defense as best as he can right now. It's Jeff Heisong, Jack Walls fighting for second and third behind him. Unfortunately, Craig Forsyth hasn't been able to make the progress of those tires that he was hoping for. So unfortunately, I think he's going to rue that decision to stay out, or to pit, I should say, other than staying out. As it comes across the line, Scott Rankin takes white flag. We'll see, can he hold him off for one more lap. Oh, contact on the outside. You see Jack Walls, Charles Teed around. That's going to, let's say we stay green since the white flag. They're going to race it out here, but looks like Scott Rankin, he's going to be able to hang on to it. I don't see any moves here being able to be made by Jeff Heisong. And I'm saying at this point, it looks like it's going to be who's going to grab that third spot. It looks like it's going to be Anders Arhus, as Craig Forsyth's got some damage to his car, but it's going to be Scott Rankin getting the win. And I say he was the one you were talking about to watch, and he's going to pull off the win here tonight over Jeff Heisong, Anders Arhus, Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth going to round out our top 5. But we're going to jump back and look to see what happened there coming out of turn number 2 between Jack Walls, Charles Teed. That looked like it may have just been one of those arrow pushes gone wrong, unfortunately. So let's take a look. And yeah, you're going to see Jack up in the wall. Let's back it up just a little further here. Let's take a closer look here. But I think Jack just got, you can see the 83 car looks like already in the wash, unfortunately, I believe, of Jeff Heisong. And as they come out of turn number 4 here, or sorry, turn number 2 here, you see, Jack, he has to try to roll off the throttle, still catches the wall. Charles Teed, so much momentum, actually ramps over the 83 car. He goes for a barrel roll there, and you see that's where Craig Forsyth, he caught a little bit of damage as well. And then the other driver's just trying to find a way to sneak on by there. As you see, Eric Peterson has to go again, makes a great move to go straight down to the beyond the apron. But then you got Anders Ar, who's trying to work the middle there, and he's going to be able to sneak by and basically be able to benefit from all that and grab a third place after all of that one. But man, it was like you said, caution will change everything, and we got one with about 5-6 ago, and it definitely completely changed the outcome of that one.
Absolutely. I was going back and looking at Jim Herrick and TJ Allen. They got in a little beating and banging going in the turn. Looked like TJ kind of slid up in the Jim, kind of overdrove turn a little bit there on lap 99.
Yeah, and that's just everybody going for everything they're worth. So I'll say before we pull off our interviews here, let's go ahead and take a look at our final results for tonight. So again, getting the win is Scott Rankin by just under half a second over Jeff Heisong. You got Anders Ar, who's there in third, about 2 seconds back. Then you got Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth. Again, I'm sure it's going to be stinging Craig a little bit. Still a top 5, but you know he's going to wanted to have a chance at that win. Yari Brubacher, Joseph Morales, Jack Walls are top 8. Unfortunately for Charles Teed, that contact that's going to drop him down. Still winds up with a top 10 in the 9th position. And then Jim Brooks holds on to the top 10 there after having his early contact with the wall and just never had a chance to recover. Matt Wagner, early pit decision on that last pit stop may come back to bite him there, unfortunately, in 11th. Then you got Jim Herrick in 12th, TJ Allen 13th, Gary Corley, Chummy Miller top 15, Andrew Wood in 16th, Thaddeus McMurray in 17th, Alec Coates in 18th. And unfortunately, these drivers not having the nights they were looking for either. You got William George there, 19th, Dustin Lamb, Nick DeGroot, and Eric Schaus, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. All right, now, though, let's chat with some drivers here. We're going to kick it off with the number 10 of Anders Aarhus. All right, so let's go ahead and pull Anders on in here. Anders, you were close to being the highest climber. However, there's a certain guy that won the race that got up to you just by one position there, but 16 spots gained. And I'll say, honestly, after probably what you saw coming out of turn number 2, probably feeling pretty relieved to come out of this one with a third place after all you saw there coming out of 2 there on that last lap.
Yeah, that was crazy. I got to go back and watch it. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it from my onboard, but it was crazy. I think I went under Charles maybe. So that was wild. Yeah, it's I'm just happy to be up in the top half. My game crashed during qualifying, so that's why I didn't set a qualifying lap, and from there it was recovery drive. And I was just talking to Scott. We were both saving fuel. I was in map 8 for the last 10 laps, and that caution kind of came out at the perfect time. And I crossed the line with 0.2 gallons in the tanks. So I tried a little bit of an alternate strategy after having to start so far down the field. And it sometimes you get lucky and it pays off.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, and it's wild to say the fact that you mentioned this, using map 8. I mean, that's the map that's used for caution running. So I mean, let's say there's fuel saving, and then there's max fuel saving. You were all in on that one, then trying to make it to the end. Without the yellow, did you feel like you going to be able to make it even with what your strategy was doing, or were you worried that you're going to still have to take a splash regardless?
Yeah, I was pretty worried I wasn't going to make it. I think I committed a little too late in the second stint to the fuel save, and I think good learning moment. If I had just committed earlier, I think I would have been fine. I probably could have made it map 5 or something. But yeah, it was going to be really, really close. Once the caution came out, I knew I could make it, because then I was back to map 1 for the last 3 laps. So I think in map 8 I could have made it, but it was going to be so close there at the end. So I'm glad we didn't have to find out.
Yeah, so it was definitely. I mean, there was a lot of question marks. We saw a few drivers maybe pitting, kind of short pitting, if you will, on the final stop, trying to figure out what's the right decision. Jason and I were trying to figure out, it's like, okay, who can make it, who can't make it. I mean, we're looking at drivers like pitting, like you pitted at 69. Same thing for Scott. And then I was watching like Craig Forsyth, he was 71, I believe, with Jeff Hyatt. So I was like, okay, they got 2 to the good. But then we saw Matt Wagner. He ducked in pretty. I wouldn't say early, but with about, I think it was about 6 or 7 to go, or basically right before that yellow came out. Unfortunately for him, but yeah, it was very intriguing to see what kind of who pitted win and what the winning strategy was going to be. So yeah, it was definitely all over the map there. But yeah, great job though. Like I said, kind of sorting yourself through all of that craziness on that last lap and keeping yourself in contention all race long. Like I said, unfortunately not being able to put a qualifying lap in a great result. And definitely want to give you a floor here, though. Any thanks and shots you'd like to give for that top 3 tonight?
Yeah, just thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Happy to be back and get to run more this season. And just a shout out to my family and my now wife's family and my wife for watching. So I got married over Christmas, so that was pretty exciting. So yeah, just thanks to all of them for watching. It's always fun to have them there and know that you're like racing with somebody. Kind of, I really enjoy that part.
That's awesome. Yeah, congratulations to you and your now wife. I remember you mentioning fiance before, so yeah, awesome to hear you able to get married over the break. So congratulations, and say hopefully you can celebrate as a married couple with a top 3 here tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so now we got to switch over to our second place finisher here, and that is going to be the number 18 of Jeff Hysong. I think Jeff had a little bit of some bounce back that he had to do himself as well as if I'm not mistaken. I think we'll have to double check with Jeff, but I recall Jeff getting caught up in an incident himself and having to try to bounce back from that one. So it wasn't an easy sail race for you either, Jeff. I mean, you had to work your way back up after getting, I believe, I remember if it was you and Charles or if it was you and Gary that had contact with one another. But I believe had to use a fast repair limp back, and I think it was you and Gary, or I'm sorry, you and Charles kind of had to limp back to the pits to get that fast repair done. But honestly, I think being able to make it to the pits honestly really helped save your race, because if you had to take a tow, it was going to be a different story, it looked like.
Yeah, I don't know what happened right there. There was no dirty air or anything. The car just wouldn't turn, and I actually got into Nick, and I apologized to him. I feel so awful about it, but yeah, I was able to limp it back to the pits, get the fast repair, and then kind of play it safe till about midway through the race, and then I really turned it on.
That's what I say. It was one of those drivers. Nick, Charles, Gary, it's all the same, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, okay, so you and Craig, I was watching Craig pitting at 71, Scott and Matt were at 69. What was your guys' mindset there? Like, were you thinking, all right, I've got these guys exactly where I want them, where I need them, because I've got 2 laps to good on them, or were you still kind of sweating bullets prior to that yellow, just not sure on the fuel number yourself?
I was going to the end. The yellow broke my heart. I was going to the end. I'd have been safe by probably about half a lap.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I had a feeling was you guys, it looked like you guys were in a pretty good spot there to be able to make it. So, and yeah, I kind of had the same thought there, because it was going to be wild to see who could or couldn't make it, or how aggressive you had to be to make it to the end. Because let's say then there were going to be a few drivers that maybe pitted even a lap or 2 after you guys that maybe be able to set it to map 1 and kind of just come full song and try to chase you guys down. So I'll say it was definitely a lot of strategy tonight. It looked like I would say in the race tonight was more of a strategy, and then of course that last restart. Then at that point, it's no holds barred. I mean, how was the mindset having to switch from kind of running numbers versus then going full send to try to get to that checkered flag?
I mean, at that point, it was just elbows out and try and get there first, and then the restart was kind of a boggled mess. It was kind of a little bit late there, so we kind of got off, and Scott just sailed away into the sunset, and I had to do my best to keep everybody behind me.
So you definitely were able to do that, though. Like you said, it's like you said, though, because you had a great restart, able to jump. I think it was on Eric Peterson, if I'm not mistaken, to get after him right off the bat. So you're able to get up into that second, but yeah, just not quite enough time to chase Scott back down. But as I come home with a second after starting 4th, a pretty good overall result. Like you said, also bounced back from some early damage. So definitely a great job of sticking with it and getting a good result here tonight. So definitely wanted to give you the floor, though. Any thanks and shots you'd like to give for that runner-up?
Big shout out to all the guys in Discord, the family, the guys at work. You guys, thank you for the great job that you guys do. Setup was amazing. It was amazing to drive, and big shout out to Nick again. I'm sorry for what I did right there. That was a big boo boo on my part, but looking forward to the rest of the season.
No, so I definitely enjoyed this one. Like I said, it was a lot of fun watching you guys. It's fun to have you all back on track again. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next week. So enjoy this one, and we'll see you back strong next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, that leaves one driver left to chat with, and that's going to be our race winner here. As I'm trying to pull up some info to double check before I get him, but we're just going to pull him off right away here. And it's going to be Scott Rankin get in the win. And so I guess the question I got to ask for you, Scott, was did you feel like you were just kind of given a win on a silver platter there? Did you have any suspicion that Craig was going to jump in there, or were you feeling like, okay, I'm going to have to try to find a way to get around that 27 car?
There's two ways to look at this. I was planning for that to go green at the end. I think everyone was. We just got into such a big groove, and things were going the way they were. I mean, you saw Wagner pit. I mean, Yari was always going to have to pit. I think Peterson behind me was going to have to pit as well. I was in this, maybe I do, maybe I don't sort of phase. So I was really I was half throttle on most of the straights, fuel map 5, flicking it to 8 whenever I was too close, trying to save mega fuel as much as I possibly can in behind Craig. And to be perfectly honest, I think if Craig was behind me, I think he makes it. I think he wins the race if it goes green. I think whoever's leading out of that pairing there is always the loser. But it was just good racing. Like, he gave me a spot earlier on, so I gave it back to him in that final run as well. There was a whole bunch that went on all night long, and then I honest to God, I did not think that he was going to pit under that final call. I got the lead, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, I have to go late. I have to set the runs up. I know I've been very kind to my tires compared to everyone else all night long, so I know at this stage of the run, if I'm pitting for fresh tires, I'm effectively taking away the best parts of my drive all night and playing into somebody else's hands. So I just couldn't do it. I got very lucky, I think, with the restart of whoever it was that was just behind me. I think it was Eric Peterson actually started in the wrong gear. So that allowed me to get away. And then Jeff was trying his hardest to catch me. And I think either one, he was fuel saving, or two, his tires were gone. So, I mean, great job to everyone behind. But, mate, you should have heard the celebrations. I'm pretty sure that Matt Wagner has blown eardrums right now.
Well, and that's what I was going to comment. I went to go check your stats, and then I say, sure enough, because we were talking about how, even during tonight's broadcast, just how quick of a learner you've been over the course of this season, or I should say last season, just picking up great results. I'd say you had a few podiums, and when we were talking, it's like, man, honestly, a win's not that far away, and so you waste no time getting the win here right off the bat, first race of the 2022 season. So, like I said, I'm sure that one felt good. It's like I said, it felt like it was not a far away one from happening, and so you're able to kind of knock it out right away in that first race of the season. So yeah, I can definitely appreciate the excitement that you had to get that win to kick things off this season. And honestly, like I said, I wouldn't even put it past you. I think you're going to be one to watch for the overall championship as well, because I mean, like I said, every week you're right up in the mix since you picked up on this thing. So, yeah, I mean, obviously that's a long ways to go, but we'll focus on tonight with that big win. But I mean, yeah, just awesome job. Like I said, kind of a tale of two races, having to kind of just manage your stuff, take it easy, work the fuel numbers, work your tires. And then just at that point, that last restart, you just got to go for broke there, and you're able to get it done and grab that win, man.
Yeah, look, I mean, it could have been a very different race too, because you got to remember in the early phases of the race, like I wasn't able to set a qualifying lap. I had an issue. iRacing wasn't loading. I had issues. I've just had to move away from my. I've got some Heisenfeld Sprint pedals. Unfortunately, they broke just before Christmas. They broke actually just before the Indy race, the last race of last season. So I had to do Indy on a set of pedals that I wasn't accustomed to, and they're a lot less sensitive. And I was driving very poorly. I think it was on display at Indy. And that just sort of wasn't me. So that was sort of more of a, take what you can get. I had a lot of things go wrong right towards the tail end of last year. And there's a few other series where I just went, man, like if I have any luck at all throughout this season, I'm leading championship. I'm leading, multiple sort of championships. And it just didn't go my way at the tail end of last season, to the point where the whole rig, everything, it just got pulled away, man. Like, I had a truck race here at Auto Club in the night for a Championship 4 and first ever playoff, and Auto Club, to be perfectly honest, in most cars is one of my strongest tracks, maybe with Poconos, the one I'm actually stronger at. It's about, other than that, this is my strongest track. And things just didn't go my way. I literally just broke down, man. I was so on the dumps, just, things weren't meant to happen at the tail end of last year, and I had to walk away. I had to take a big ass break, and I had to pick myself up for this year, and to come out here with the standard of driving. I've chatted to Nick nearly every week. I'm getting feedback from him. He's going, was that a little bit aggressive? Yes, no, those sorts of things. And this isn't the best I think you've seen from me. I do think this is a lucky win. I'll take it. I will take it for sure. I definitely need it to start off the year, but there's more coming. I can be better. There's a lot that I learned throughout the course of tonight's race that made me a better IndyCar driver within the race itself. I actually stuffed up the fuel numbers. I had enough fuel to not have to fuel save that last stint, and Matt was coming to the pit, so I came with him, and I looked at the numbers when I came out, and I went, oh no. Oh, I've messed this up. Because I was actually going to stop a lap later than when Craig stopped, so I was actually good on fuel for the last stint, but I didn't want to lose the draft, so lesson learned, and still get to walk away with a win at the end of that, man. Look, yeah, like I said, sometimes things just don't go your way. Apparently, all the luck that I had from last season just rolled it all up and threw it down tonight, apparently.
Yeah, it's rough. Like I said, there's days, where you just kind of want to put the rig away and be like, like I said, and I mean, you pretty much had to, like I said, didn't have the pedals that you were familiar with and everything, have to kind of relearn, and then, of course, I'm sure get them repaired and back in position again. But yeah, like you said, though, to come back out here full tilt strong and pull off the win to kick off the season, I mean, like I said, it's definitely a great way to kick things off. So I'm sure you're going to be busy this upcoming weekend next week, and we got the Daytona races coming up with iRacing itself as well. So awesome job tonight, and saying, like I said, hopefully a nice momentum builder to kick off the Area 51 season, and then of course the rest of the iRacing stuff that you're involved with as well.
Yeah, I can't say this is the opportunity. I'm going to take the opportunity to just sort of thank a whole bunch of people, because right now there are a lot of different people that need to be thanked. Let alone for what they do for me within iRacing, but they're also such big support networks for me. The networks and the friends that I've built through iRacing through the last, we're actually getting close to 2 years now on iRacing, and I've less than that, 18 months, I've been racing ovals. So to come to this level is just phenomenal. I can't believe it. So right now, I cannot say a big enough thank you to the two people that mean the most to me right now in my life. Is obviously my wife has been just such a big thing over Christmas. Christmas was hard. I was so beat down on myself. She picks me up every day. She's here. She gets to celebrate this one with me. She's just quit her job and stuff as well. So it's something nice to go forward with. A really, really close friend of mine by the name of Ashley Molyneux. She's actually come and spotted for me for a couple of times. She's been phenomenal. She's been keeping me stable, keeping my mental health in the right spot. Big shout out to her. None of this could be done without all of you guys here at the league, and in very particular Matt Wagner. He has taken me under his wing, and if you are looking for somebody to hang out, socialize with, just enjoy iRacing with, Matt is that. But to have him also be a great coach, a great somebody who constantly teaches me how to be a better person as well. I can't say enough about Matt, and I think that'll be said by absolutely everyone within the league. You guys that do the broadcasting, another guy that I'll be racing the Daytona 24 with by the name of Mike Browning as well, and teammate Joe Yakes. Those guys have been such positive influences in my life over the last 6 months. They mean the world to me right now. All of the Indy Autosports team, and our sponsors, Martin Sports, Apparel, SimCoin, and Sim Thunder, if you're looking for sim racing related bitcoins and sim coins, your way to go, and you can actually buy setups to race with from Sim Thunder as well through SimCoin. So all of those guys, they really help get me going, and yeah, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to a shoey.
I was gonna say, I recall some shoeys from last season, so yeah, I think you gotta. The question is whether or not you'll be able to con your wife into one as well.
No. She won't kiss me for like the next day, just purely because I've done the shoey. So there'll be no shoey from her, man. I never thought this would happen so quickly. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone so much.
It was awesome job, Scott. I was saying, and Jason was in helping me out tonight, and saying he was telling me, he's like, I think Scott's gonna be the one to watch, and he was spot on with that one tonight. So just awesome job, man. Like I said, it's always a lot of fun seeing drivers get their first wins here, and like you said, though, I don't think it's gonna be the first of many for sure. So looking forward to seeing you go after these guys the rest of the season. But yeah, enjoy this one, man, and say definitely glad to hear that the year's starting off nicely now for you after putting last year aside, and so yeah, just look forward here and let's go get him for the rest of them, man.
Yeah, let's go celebrate. Drink from a shoe, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo!
All right, guys, that is our race winners. You can see very excited Scott Rankin getting a huge win here tonight at Auto Club. Like I said, he's been relatively new to the series, but again, quick learner. Obviously, definitely more affiliated with the road stuff. But man, I mean, you were spot on there, Jason. You're like, he's gonna be the one to watch, and I mean, he definitely did exactly what he needed to do, and like I said, nailed the restart. And honestly, was surprised that those guys behind, they could not keep up with him. But like he mentioned, he kept his tires in good shape there, and that was, I think, a big part of what was able to allow him to keep that lead. So just hats off to him. A great strategy throughout the course of the race. But yeah, I mean, it was tale of two races there. A lot of fuel strategy, a lot of just kind of chess playing, if you will. And then that last restart, at that point, you're just drop the hammer and try to get what you can.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. There's no better way for Scott to start off the season for a win. I know he's happy, especially the way last season ended. Hopefully this season here will turn around for him, and we can see a lot more wins from Scott.
Yeah, exactly right. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, Jason, I gotta thank you. Really appreciate you hopping on board. I say definitely, as always, I say always gonna miss Steve in the booth with me, but it was a pleasure to have you in here as well. So I know you've got plenty of racing under your belt that you've been doing here with Area 51, and of course, like you said, other leagues as well. So definitely want to wish you the best and good luck with those races as well, and definitely be cheering you on those Monday series with the next gen cars. And yeah, like I said, just can't thank you enough for hopping on and helping me out here. It was definitely a pleasure to have you up here with me.
Yes, sir. No problem. Anytime, brother. Like I said, this race tonight was action packed. It was not a dull moment at all. A lot of lead changing, a lot of action in the back, in the middle. Everywhere you turn, there was action, and I'm sorry, guys, we couldn't get it all in one screen, but I'd like to congratulate Scott again for his win, and hope to see him up front again.
All right, so that's going to do it for us here tonight with Green White Checker TV. So like I said, lots of great associates. So definitely got to thank everybody again, all the associates, all the partners, all just everybody that's helped involved us. It's a lot of fun to be able to do all of this. So thank you all, and of course everybody watching as well. Thank you so much for watching, and looking forward to getting the rest of the season underway here. We'll be back again on Thursday night, the Super Speedway Truck Series. We'll be back running over there, and then of course we kick things back off race number 2 for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series on Sunday night. So until then, though, hope you all have a wonderful evening. And of course, as always, stay safe and hope you have a good night. Until then, take care. Have a good night, everyone.